I'm Scott Fishman,
I'm John Dwoskin.
and this is the 7-Minute Salesman.
Welcome, everybody.
Hey, Johnny, good morning.
Scott, good morning. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Sorry, I got myself in the middle of a sip of water there. Doing well.
All right, good. Yeah, me too. Me too. It's always good to be in the studio recording something for our listeners, and I think today's gonna be a great show. Why don't you share everybody what we're talking about?
Absolutely. Hey, well, folks, we did an episode a while back about auditing your social media and continuing to make sure that everything on there is on point, on message, and, not NSFW, as they say. Make sure it's all safe for work. And recently I've had some experiences that I thought could come to light or bring this to light again. I think it's important that we talk about that when you are on social, which people are spending a lot more time on social now these days, when you are on social and you hit send, even on an email, and I consider email to be social media, when you hit that send button, you lose all control of that information, that picture, that quote, that email, that, whatever you put out there, you lose all control of that. And that is out in the wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and I think it's a good refresher time, Fish, because like you said, I think more people are on social right now. There's not as many things to watch on television, and they're using it for entertainment as well as getting their news, which we've talked about as well. But not only that, but a lot of times and I can't speak to all of this completely intelligently, but when you sign waivers to join up for these groups, there's many of things that even the companies say, a lot of it they own it. So there are social channels where they can actually use your stuff in their advertising because we've signed off on it. So it just makes it, what you're talking about, even bigger. I mean, the last thing I think anybody wants to see is something they've posted that makes them look in a poor light on a billboard, on the expressway.
Exactly. And it's, you're not in private when you say things on social. And again, it's, I forgot who said this, but when the service is free, you're the product.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
I like it. I believe it. Yeah.
And if you think about that, and this is what's crazy, and this is the old man in me saying, "Oh, how do they know this about me?" But like, you're on Instagram and you look at a photo, and all of a sudden you're getting advertisements for that photo.
Yeah.
For whatever that photo was all about. Like you and I'm sure we get the same, like, sales journal, this sales program, this better yourself program, this and that, because of what we do. And it's like, gosh, how do they know so much about me? It's just because you looked at a picture, not even because you liked it.
Right.
So you are the product. They know how to market something to you. So yeah, that is an absolutely amazing point, that you don't know what the terms of service are that you just signed your life away on. So yeah, something you put out there can be used in their advertisements, in their business. It can be used against you in a court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Not in a court of law, probably in a court of law too, but the court of public opinion is going to hit you a lot faster.
Yeah.
So I think my message today, my main thing I want to talk about is just, they say measure twice, cut once. And I think that goes well along with social media, email, things we say on the phone. All of our calls are recorded in business now, right? So be careful what you're putting out there.
Yeah. So a couple of things I just want to comment on, Fish, and then I want to kind of dive into some stuff too. Right. I agree with you. A drop of when it comes to social, you got to always be conscious, because one drop of blood can ruin a gallon of water. You can have a great campaign on social for years, do one stupid thing, and it can destroy your credibility. But I just want to highlight, and I know the show isn't necessarily on this today, but email is just as critical as social. And it's almost like it used to be straight email. We grew up in an email when email was getting big, and these social platforms can be gone overnight. They have the ability to actually take you off of their network. So you could be using to market yourself, your business on these, and overnight they could shut you down. where your email list you actually control. It's a much more controlled mechanism of communicating. And so email, people are actually it's more powerful sometimes because you are purposely sending to a specific group of people that want to see you. I mean, if you have, let's just say, 1 million followers, if you post something, 1 million followers aren't running to YouTube to check you out. But if you email the people that have chosen to be on your mailing list, that actually is much more extreme. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that, the importance of email.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's something that I hadn't even thought about as we kind of discussed this, but you definitely, you own your email list. And
correct.
Like you said, we see people lose their platform on YouTube, on Twitter, on Insta,
right.
In a heartbeat, and their business can die if they're relying solely on that. So make sure that you are actually, cultivating, growing your mailing list, cultivating, growing your prospect list. It's super important. Absolutely.
Yeah. But when you're talking about auditing your social, I let's dive deeper into this, because I think, like if I had to kind of point to some things, and I'd like your deep dive view on this, but to me, social is great to educate, to raise awareness, to bring value, not necessarily shock value, shift mindset, to get people maybe centered, inspired, back into alignment so they can kind of, evolve and grow. It's like a good journal. We were talking about the Impact journal right before this, and just talking about how it's filled with so much stuff to kind of get you back to center, get you grounded. I ordered it, by the way, right as we were kind of in between at the launch. So thanks. And so maybe we talk about the mindset where people think they can, post something that they know shouldn't be posted. Like what is that momentary lapse of insanity?
Well, I mean, I think, gosh, revenge is one thing. Like, I'm going to get them. Revenge porn. We've seen revenge. I'm just gonna. What do they call it? Doxing, where they put out someone's information on social. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do for nefarious reasons, but I think really a lot of what we do is knee jerk, and it's like you get a email and you want to fire something off really quick, and I'm going to show them. But then as soon as you fire off that nasty gram, they own that email that you sent, and they could do whatever they want with it.
And we need to have the same high standards for ourselves when it comes to the responsibility and accountability we have for monitoring and sharing on social media. And to me, what it comes down to, Fish, and you're talking about this, I'm just using another word, is intent. Right. So when you use the word revenge, nothing good happens if you're angry, if you do something out of anger, out of complete fear and revenge. That is very dark, low frequency, low vibrating energy. And you must raise yourself and rise above the fray and take the high road. Right. And taking the high road isn't always easy, because you want to lash out. And that's the worst thing that anybody can ever do, because 1 10-second momentary lapse of lowering your standards could cost you your job, your credibility, and so much more.
I agree. And I think something that I've always done, because I was that guy at some point, I'm not going to lie. I would be like, I'm going to say,
I think we all were. By the way, I think we all were. Like, I mean, we're sitting here I'm 48 talking like this, but at 23 years old, if I was on social, or if I was 18 years old, I mean, please, I'm still embarrassed about stuff I did when I was 18, 19, 20, 20, whatever. So I can't say that I wouldn't have done some of this 25 years ago. Right.
So something I employ, and I actually will pause before I actually send an email. I'll write it. I'll reread it. I'll send it to myself sometimes. And then when it comes, I'll read it as if it's brand new. I have some of my cohorts that I work with have their email on a delay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know a lot of people do too.
A 10-minute send delay, because they just they can't control themselves.
Right.
Like the monster takes over. So I think that's something that's very big, and it's just the one thing. It's super important that I just want people to understand, because we've talked about going back in the past and making sure that everything you're painting a narrative for yourself that's the you're able to paint your own picture of what your life is and what your business is. And it's because that's what you put out there. But the second it hits the public, it's public knowledge, and it can be saved and it can be twisted. And we've seen it, with politicians. We've seen it with celebrities. I mean, there's more going on this week. A famous podcaster basically is just ripped right off his podcast platform because of crap that he said. It happens nonstop, and we have to be sure that we're in business. We've got a hell of a lot more to lose by saying something bad than we do to gain.
Yeah. I just want to say on that, it's never send an email or post something or do something when you're angry, right? Never do thing, be understand and be very clear on what your intent is. And hopefully it's positive intent. Being very conscious and realizing that we all have much more of a ripple effect than we think we do because of the channels that we touch. And I agree. Like we have, there's Voltaire said, you are responsible, hold on. I'm confusing two quotes. One is you are responsible for the energy that you bring into the room, which I can't remember who said that. And two, which is the uncle from Spider-Man and Voltaire, which is, with power comes responsibility.
Is that from Candide?
Did I get that right? No, it's Voltaire and Spider-Man's uncle. But we all have a responsibility to put good and positivity and not anger and negativity into the social world.
John, I just have to sidetrack us for a second, but I think Candide was written by Voltaire, and I think we read that in...
Candide, the book. Yes. We read that in philosophy.
Dr. Frederick Anderson's class. Shout out to Dr. Frederick Anderson again.
Yes, Dr. Anderson, thank you for kicking me out of a college class for laughing. That class was hilarious. Yeah. That was the name of Voltaire's book that we read in that class, Candide.
I think so. I could be wrong. I could. Well,
be. And here you are. I'm listening to you say Candide, and I thought, is that a philosopher? I've never heard.
So, it's a rapper, actually.
Rapper, right?
So here's to tie it all in with that guy just taking it back to Dr. Frederick Anderson at Eastern Michigan University with his outbursts, right? He wouldn't have a job if people had iPhones at that time. Probably not.
No, he was, I remember him yelling a lot, and he yelled at me, and I just started laughing, and Dwoskin, get the hell out of the class. Yeah, probably.
Or he'd be viral. He'd be a billionaire viral influencer just because he was so funny that he melted down. But
right.
I think, and that would I think it ties it all perfectly together. Like that guy literally just the outbursts, and he operated out of anger, and he said things that he probably didn't mean. He did things that he probably didn't mean.
Yeah.
And thank God that we didn't have social back then, so we could have some of our antics recorded. But I think that we as adults, you're 48, I'm a young 48. And as adults being out here, we can screw up just as big.
Yeah.
We really can. And putting something out there, and again, your reputation is on the line. I love what you said. And I think it can probably wrap up our episode quite well, is a drop of blood can ruin a gallon of water.
Yeah.
I think that's it. It means so much, because even with us, we've had hundreds of episodes, or 100-something episodes, thousands of episodes. But all it takes is one crazy comment, us to do something really dumb, and it's over.
Yeah. It's over. Be smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love it. I agree. And then in closing, I'll just say this, Fish. Just think before you speak.
Right. And one thing I like to employ is I think about, would I do this if my grandmother was watching?
That's a good one.
It definitely it hits home a lot of times. I'm like, type up, and I'm gonna make the noise on the keyboard. You do that, then you're like, shit, that's not a good idea. So I guess on that note, folks, Another good idea would be go back and listen to some of our past episodes. Listen to our Audit Your Social episode. I think you'll really get a kick out of it. And please enjoy your day. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Now, no excuses. It's time to put everything you listen to into action. Stop bullshitting yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop listening and doing nothing with this information. Take this information, implement it into your day, kick some ass, grow your business, grow your sales, make more money, have more fun, have a better life, period, the end.
What he said.